So, welcome to the St. Peter's Engineering College, Department of Civil Engineering. Myself, V. Gajendra, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering. I am going to be teaching the subject surveying and geomatics, surveying and geomatics. So, this is the subject in the second year, first semester, under the regulations of R18 in Jain University, Hyderabad. So before going for surveying in geomatics, so what is the importance of the surveying in geomatics? Why the civil engineering student has to be learn or to study the surveying in geomatics? In general, the surveying is going to be giving us the information, required information to go for construction of various civil engineering infrastructure projects. For that, what is the basic requirement will be there that we can able to get from the surveying. That is through that the measurements, various measurements that enable that to go for the constructions in the form of a plan or the map. The output we are going to be getting the plan or the map. But in general, so the surveying means various forms of surveys are available. For example, I want to purchase a new refrigerator. So what I am going to be doing is I will go for to the 2 to 3 shops and I will inquire about the so what is the price and what is the spare parts are available, what is the warranty of that product, and finally I will compare with all the 3 to 4 shops I'm going there, and I comparing with the various so models, and finally I will purchase. Then I can able to get that the good refrigerator with the least possible price, with all the facilities I am able to get it. So that is what we can able to say, that one type of survey we are going to be doing to purchase a new refrigerator. If you are not doing this survey and directly you are going for the market and you are going to be purchasing, so then after that, so you have to be think that whether we have to go for that model, maybe is good, warranty is good. So like that we are going to be so thinking in 2 to 3 times. Instead of that one, what I am going to be doing is I am going for 3 to 4 shops, I am inquiring, and then after that I am going to be purchasing. Then I can able to get a good piece or is it the good refrigerator. This is one type of survey we are going to be doing to go for the new refrigerator. Similarly, if you are going for, I am going to start a new business. What I have to do? I have to do that the survey in that area, which one is not available, then I can able to start my business, then I can able to get a profitable one. Otherwise, if I am not doing any survey, and what are the needs and what are the facilities and what are the lagging will be there in that area, what is not available in that area, and if I am going to start the business, that business may be same will be there in that area. So then I am not able to get any profit, because instead of I am going to be getting profit, sometimes I may loss, or I may close, or I may, so part of the profit only I am able to get it, because same type of business or same type of shops are there in that area. Obviously we are going to be sharing that what is the profit I are going to be getting. Instead of one shop, we are going for 3 to 4 shops of same kind, we are going to be sharing that one. Means we are not able to get that much profit, or may in the long time we have to be close also, because no business will be there. If you are doing a survey and whatever that business is not available, what is the requirement will be there in that locality and society, if you start that business, obviously we are going to be leading in the towards the profitable, and we can able to go for a long time. So that is if you want to venture or if you want to start new business, so you are going to be doing the survey. Based on the output, we can able to start that the business is a profitable one. Similarly, we are having that exit poll surveys. In general, so every day, our day-to-day life, we are going to be seeing that exit poll surveys. In elections, we can able to exit poll survey. So which party will be able to get more number of majority or more number of votes, we are able to get it. This is also is one type of survey is going to be predicting that who is going to be win or who is going to be get the more number of votes. So this survey is going to be predicting and is going to be giving the information to understand what is the situation will be there and what are the prevailing conditions are there. So whether I am going to win or the lose. So based on that one, so we can able to elect the people and we can able to give that the forms. So that is one type of survey. So like that, the various surveys will be there. Finally, the output is that, so we can able to get the requirement. What is the requirement will be there? So that is we are able to get the output. Based on the requirement, we can able to start. Either I am going to be purchasing a new refrigerator, or I am going to start a new business, or I am going to be electing a member. These are all the sort of surveys we are going to be doing. So we are going for, this is the routine surveys are there in day-to-day life. Then, so why can't you go for survey for our so constructions? Because constructions is going giving for long life. It is going for 100 years, 50 to 100 years, 70 years, 100 years, 100 years. So then we have to be thinking more. If we are going for refrigerator for 5 years, we are going to be thinking, and we are going for 3 to 4 shops. And similarly business, and similarly for exit code, for every 5 years we are thinking so much, so to go for a good piece or good member or good business. But if you go for a construction, it has to be serviceability and it has to be long staying. Then definitely we have to be get the information related to the material of construction. Material of construction and what is the site conditions will be there and what are the measurements will be there. Each and everything information that will be needed for the civil engineering constructions, that we are able to get it, is known as the surveying. Surveying and geomatics is going to give you that. So the measurements, from that measurements, I can able to get a plan or the map. Accordingly, I have to go for the reality in the construction. So that is, we can say that the need of the hour, the student has to be learned throughout this subject of various techniques, so that they are going to be used to get the information and to go for the construction. This is entirely surveying is going to be entirely, it is going to be called as a field work. In the field work, we are able to get the measurements. Then after that, we come to the office and we can do that all sorts of the drawings. And then after that, we can go for the construction. So then it will be feasible and it will be very easy to complete the project. If we are not doing the preliminary work as survey, so then we have to be start with the preparation of the plan or the maps, drawings we are going to prepare. So obviously we are going to struggling somewhere else. We are not able to get that the accurate information. Then we are not able to prepare the proper plans or the maps. So then if you are not going in a position to prepare a plan or the map, obviously we cannot able to go for the construction, because whatever the drawings will be there, that is, you are going to call it pictorial plans. So that we are going to be implementing in the reality in the construction. Based on that, the drawings, either it is going to be structural drawings or it is layouts, or that we are going to use it in the construction, such that we can able to complete the project in a stipulated period of time. So this is going to be connectivity will be there. Due to that reason, the engineering students, civil engineering student has to be learned. This is the basic subject. In this, we can know that what sort of information, what are the instruments are available. With that instruments, how we can able to get the information and how we can prepare the maps or the plans, and then how we are going to be executing the work. So that is going to be taken the other part. The design part we are going to be learning in the higher classes, or we can say that the third year and final year. In second year, it is going to be called as a fundamental subject we are going to be learning. So in this, so first we had to be studying the surveying and geomatics. So what is the introduction? So after the introduction, we can able to see that what are the objectives or the objects of surveying. So after the understanding then we are going to be defining that what is meant by the surveying and what is meant by the leveling. And then after understanding the surveying and leveling, then we have to go for what is the classification of surveying. Classification of surveying, then we will go for the principles of surveying. Principles of surveying. So after understanding the principles of the surveying, then we can go for what is meant by the chain surveying. So in the introduction, the surveying, already we discussed about that the surveying will be getting that the output we are able to get the plan or the map. Our objectives also is that for various civil engineering projects, we have to prepare a plan. So according to the plan, means plan you are going to prepare according to the requirement. What is the requirement will be there? Then we'll prepare a plan. Then we can go for the reality in the construction. In general, if we say that I want to prepare a plan, what I have required is going to be called as LBD. I want to prepare a plan. So I require the LBD. There is the 3 dimensions will be required. So plan is going to be called as, so the line diagram is going to be depicting that. So what is the top view, and the front view is going to be called as elevation. Then once you draw the plan From that elevation, we are able to draw it. From the plan and elevation, so we can draw the sectional elevation and we can able to get the all sort of the information. So I want to draw the plan and I want to draw the elevation. I require that these are the three dimensions will be there. One is length, another one is the breadth or the, so first one is the length, second one is breadth or the width, third one is going to be called as a depth or the height. So length, breadth and width and depth, these are we are going to be called as linear measurements. So the linear measurements, once we are going to be completing, so then we are with the help of the linear measurements, and sometimes we will go for the angular measurements, we can able to draw a plan. But almost all in the plan and elevation, we require only that is the linear dimensions. So the linear measurements or the linear dimensions itself is sufficient to draw the plan and elevation and the section elevation. From that, so we can go for the construction. This is we are going to preparing as per the requirement. So these are all measurements we are going to doing in the field with the help of surveying. So that's why these three dimensions will be necessary. These three dimensions will be necessary to draw a plan or the map. So this is we are going to be doing in the surveying. That is the objective. We are able to see that for any type of, I want to construct a road, I want to construct a bridge, I want to construct a dam, I want to construct a canal, I want to construct a building. So each and everything, first we had to see that the resources in terms of the materials. After that, we have to go for the measurements. After that, we have to go for the labor. After that, we have to go for the management, or we are going to become engineering management will be required. These are all we are going to be procuring. Then we'll go for the measurements in the areas, and then we are prepare a plan. Then we'll go for the construction. So this is the first step is that survey. First step is survey that for the given requirement, we are going to do the survey, and then for the given requirement, we are going to be preparing a plan. That same thing we are going to be executing into the construction, reality in the construction. So in that, if I want to go for length, breadth and depth, what are the different methods are available? These are the linear measurements are there. For linear measurements, we can go, or the linear dimensions, we can go for various methods. We are going to be studying in the surveying. And in addition to that one, we are going to be studying as angular measurements also. So angular measurements also sometimes we are going to be using with the help of the linear measurements. In addition to the linear measurements, we are going to be studying about the angular measurements. So then, how you define that the surveying? How do you define the surveying? Surveying is going to be called as the relative positions of the points on the surface of the earth. So, and distance between the distance between the objects, we are going to be called as a surveying. So the relative positions of the points are the objects on the surface of the earth or the near the surface of the earth. And similarly, the distance between the objects or the points that we are going to measure, that we are going to be called as surveying. Here, completely we are going to be depending on linear. Distance is going to be called as linear. Distance between the objects or distance between the points on the surface of the earth, near the surface of the earth. So we are going to be measuring, that we are going to be called as surveying. So then what is another one is going to be called as leveling. So leveling is going to be called as the depth or the height. So in general, we are going for length and so breadth or the width we can able to get is going to be called as linear measurement. Depth also is going to be called a linear measurement, but it is going to become under the vertical measurement. In the previous case, length and breadth, or we can say that the horizontal and the vertical distance we are able to call it as the leveling, or in terms of height and depth. So height and depth will be required. So also with the in addition to the length and breadth, then only we are able to complete that LBD. So length, breadth or width and depth. These three we had to be studied. That's why leveling is also is going to came into the picture. The leveling is going to be called as the relative height or depth of the points on the surface of the earth, below the surface of the earth. Or we can say that the measuring of the height or depth of the points or the objects on the surface of the earth, we are going to be called as leveling. Leveling almost all we are going to be called as vertical reference. Surveying is always we are going to be called a horizontal reference. So horizontal and vertical both together we can able to get the measurement that will be completing your L, B and D. So that is the how we are going to be defining that the surveying and leveling. So then after understanding the surveying and leveling, one should know that what are the classifications of surveying. After understanding the surveying, so we have to go for the classification of the surveying. In this classification, we are having the two classifications. One is primary classification, another one is going to be called as secondary classification. So one is primary classification, secondary classification. Here, the surveyor has to be understand, so which one I have to be choose. So whether I have to go for the primary or I have to go for the secondary classification. So that is different depending upon what is the, in which principle or in which way we can able to define that the primary classification of the surveying and secondary classification of the surveying. So primary classification of the surveying is once again is going to be divided into, so one is plain surveying, another one is going to be called as the plain surveying, another one is going to be called as the geodetic surveying. Plain surveying, so the plain surveying and geodetic surveying. So your primary classification is going to be, classification surveying is going to be divided into the plain surveying and geodetic surveying. So what is meant by the plain surveying and what is meant by the geodetic surveying? How you define the plain surveying and how you define that the geodetic surveying? Plain surveying. So the term itself is going to be giving you as meaning plain means. So here we can able to see that in both the surveys, while you take the plain surveying and geodetic surveying, always what we can discuss is surveying means we are going for the, so the surface of the earth, on the surface of the earth. So surface of the earth is going to be called as, we are able to call it as the spheroidal. Spheroidal, and so the line joining 2 points almost as spheroidal, it is going to come as a curvature effect. Curvature will be this. Spheroidal means spherical, so then it is going to be called as curvature. Curvature is going to come into the picture. Means, so our surface, the earth is going to become in the form of a spheroidal, but in the plane surveying, what we are going to be doing is, we are going to be assuming as a plane. So assuming as a plane instead of curvature. Instead of curvature effect, so this is the spheroidal. Instead of curvature effect, I am going to be doing the plane means it is going to be called a straight line. In plane surveying, so the distance between 2 points, this is one point, this is another point. So distance between 2 points and measured as a horizontal one, and the distance between 2 points is going to be called a straight line. Then the 2 points is going to be straight line. Line joining 2 points is a straight line. So we are going to be neglecting the effect of the curvature, and I am going to be measuring the distance between the 2 points in a horizontal, and the distance, the line joining the 2 points is going to be called a straight line. If the line joining 3 points, I am going to be called as a plane triangle. Line joining 3 points or the 3 objects, so I am going to be getting a triangle that we are going to call as a plane triangle. Means completely I am ignoring that the curvature effect, and I am going to be considering as a straight or the horizontal, and I am going to be measuring the distances that is going to become under the plane surveying. So that is the objective of the plane surveying. So we are going to be discussing in the plane surveying, and it is going to be suitable for less than 250 square kilometers of area. So your plane surveying is suitable, if the plane surveying is suitable for the areas is less than 250 square kilometers, means your boundary, for which boundary we are going to be surveyed, so that will be less than 250 square kilometers. In that circumstances, we will go for to go do the survey or do the measurements by using the plane surveying. In the plane surveying, already we discussed that it is going to be called as curvature effect, we are going to be ignored because it is going to be called a smaller area or the smaller boundary, and we are going to be measuring all the requirement or measuring all the distances. So then it is going to be called as plane surveying. Then question immediately comes under, see if it is your boundary area, your surveyed boundary will be greater than 250 square kilometers, what we will do? So that is, if greater than 250 square kilometers will be there, your area. So then, so one more survey we are going to be doing is going to be called a geodetic surveying. So geodetic surveying and plane surveying, this is primary classification of surveying. In which circumstances I have to be go for the plane surveying, and which circumstances I have to go for geodetic surveying. Which type of principle we are going to be applying. So if the plane surveying less than 250 square kilometers, and if it is geodetic surveying, here what we are going to be doing is we are going to be taking up the curvature effect. So curvature effect we are going to consider. Here there is no curvature effect we are going to consider. In plane surveying, no curvature effect will be considered, and we are going to be measuring that the straight or the horizontal distances, and distance between the 2 points is a straight line, and the distance between the 3 points it is going to be called the plane triangle. In geodetic surveying, we are going to be considering that the curvature effect also. So it is going to be, what is going to happen, it is going to be called as curvature. So the line joining 2 points is going to be called as curve. Line joining 3 or more points, it is going to become as a square, this circle itself. So here accuracy will be more when compared to the plane surveying. Only in special cases only we had to go for the geodetic principle, geodetic surveying. Otherwise, almost all whatever we are going for the constructions, almost we are going to be choosing the surveying is going to be called as plane surveying. So exceptional cases only we are going for geodetic surveying, because we are going to be considering as curvature effect. So that's why. So we are going for the detailed survey while you are going for the curvature, but in the plane surveying is not necessary. So we are going to be considering with the construction on the surface. So that's why we are going to be using plane surveying. Almost all we are going to be dividing into the different boundaries, and we are going with the plane surveying. The principles of plane surveying we are going to be adopted, and we are going to be measuring that the length, breadth, and depth. So this already I told you that 3 measurements will be required. These 3 measurements only possible in the case of the plane surveying. If you go for geodetic surveying, so the measurements will be different. This is going comes under the angular or otherwise some type of the measurements we are going to be doing with the geodetic surveying. So this is about the what is the primary classification of the surveying, plane surveying and geodetic surveying. The surveyor has to be choose which survey has to be go and to go for the measurements, either plane or geodetic surveying. In plane surveying, we'll see that there are less than 250 square kilometers of area, and geodetic surveying greater than 250 square kilometers of the boundary. And so we see that curvature effect is ignored in the case of the plane surveying, and in geodetic surveying, curvature effect is going to be considered. So then next is going to be called after primary classification of the surveying. So understand that what is the primary and geodetic surveying. Next is going to be called as the secondary surveying. In the secondary surveying, so the classification of the surveying is going to be divided into that. So by using the instrument classification based on instruments, classification based on purpose, classification based on methods, classification based on methods. So primary classification is plane surveying and geodetic surveying, and secondary classification is based on instruments. So what are the instruments we are going to be using? Classification based on the way purpose, classification based on the methods. So first now we will discuss about the based on the instruments. So classification of the surveying based on the instrument. So in this, the first classification is we are going to be called as chain surveying. So the first classification of the surveying is going to be called a chain surveying. So already I told you that it is going to be based on the instrument, which type of instrument we use. So that is going to be reflecting onto the type of the survey. Here we are going to be using the instruments is chain and tape. So primarily we are going to be using that the chain and tape. With the chain and tape, with the help of the chain and tape, I will go for the measurements. I will be recorded the data in the field book, and after that I am coming to the office and I am going to preparing a plan. So this is the survey always will be having that the 2 phases will be there. First phase will be the field work, and second phase will be having the office work. In the office work, we are going to be noted down the measurements. Then in the office work, we are going to be sitting down and we are going to be using with that the measurements. We are going to be preparing a plan. Or otherwise, nowadays we are going for an advanced one. We can able to do that. We are storing the data and we are going to be using that the various softwares, and we are able to prepare the plan. So that is the advanced one. This is we are going to be called as the traditional methods. Methods. After understanding the traditional methods, we are going to be applying into that the advanced methods. So in the chain surveying, so we are able to get the linear measurements, chain and tape. So primarily we are going to be using the linear measurements, length or breadth. So or the depth or the height we can able to measure with the help of chain or with the help of the tape. So that's why the survey we are going to call it chain surveying. So the second one is going to be called as compass surveying. Compass surveying. So in compass surveying, the term itself is going to be using the mini compass. Here we are going to be using the prismatic compass. Prismatic compass. With the prismatic compass, I can able to get that the angular measurements. Actually, we cannot say that directly angular measurements we cannot able to get it. But here, what we are able to get it from the prismatic compass, we are able to get it the bearings. So then we are going to be converting into that the angles. Bearings with respect to the magnetic north. So your compass is while you using in the field, and I can able to get that the bearings with respect with reference to the magnetic north. So then these bearings we are going to be converted into the angles. Means we are not directly getting the angles. Indirectly we are able to get the angles. So the compass surveying. Here the instrument we are going to be using is compass. That's why we are going to call it as compass surveying. Previous one we are using chain surveying, linear measurements with the help of chain and tape. That's why we are called as a chain surveying. And second method, so that is the second instrument we are going to be using compass. With the help of the compass, we are able to get the angular measurements. Then we are going to call it as compass surveying. So then next third one is. So third one we are going to be called as the plane table surveying. Plane table surveying. Here we are going to be using the instrument is going to be called a plane table. So plane table with the different accessories we are going to be using, and we can able to get that the linear measurements. We can able to get that the linear measurements, length, breadth, or the width. We are able to get it. So then we are going to be called as a plane table surveying. So here we are having the tripod. Above that the tripod that is resting on the ground, and we are going to be keeping that the drawing board. In the drawing board we are going to be fixing that the drawing sheet, and directly we are able to measure the measurements, and we are able to plot it on the field itself. So there is the advantage will be there when compared to your chain surveying and compass surveying. In chain surveying and compass surveying, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be taking the measurements in the field, that is the field work, note it down in the field notebook. Then what we are going to be doing is with that the help of the field measurements, we are going to be plotting, or we are going to be preparing that the plan in the office. We are sitting means here the phases of the work will be different. Field work, then the office work. Finally, we are able to get the output in the form of a plan. And similarly, in the compass surveying, also same thing. We are noted down that the bearings. From that, we are going to be calculating the angles. From the direct angles, we can able to prepare that. In addition to that, the linear measurements, we are going to be angular measurements also. We are going to be using, and we are going to be preparing that the plan. We are sitting in the office, and we are going to be completing all these tasks. But here in this case of plane table surveying, what we are doing is directly plotting work also is going to be doing in the field itself, simultaneous. Your measurements and the plotting work, preparation of the planning, all is going to be done in the field itself. That is the advantage. We are going to be saving the time. We are going to be sitting in the office. We are going to be doing separately. Instead of that one, we can able to do it in the field, and we can able to complete the task itself. And one more advantage also we can able to get, if any corrections will be there, we can able to do it in the field itself, and we can because we are doing the plotting work also simultaneously. So whatever that the corrections will be there also we can make easily, and we have to be redraw. But in the case of chain and compass surveying or other type of the surveying is not possible. So once you are going to entering into the field book, you go to the office and we are going to preparing the plan based on the requirement and based on the measurements only we are going to preparing. So then we want to go for redraw or so any corrections will be there, it is not possible. Only thing is we have to redo the work as we are not able to get it properly. Then once again we have to be start the work, and we have to be complete the task itself. So that is there in almost all the types of the surveys when compared to the plane table surveying. So plane table surveying, that is only the biggest advantage, but it is going to be called as a very lengthy process to go for the measurements. More number of accessories will be required. More number of accessories will be required. That's why it is going to be cumbersome, or sometimes it will be very difficult to go into the field and you can do that one. So advantages are there, and simultaneously disadvantages also is there. So in case of bad weather condition, we can't do anything. We cannot do either the field work, and we cannot able to complete your drawing work or the planting work also. So the bad weather conditions, it is not fit, or we cannot able to opt the plain table surveying. So this is here in the plain table surveying, we are able to get the field work and the planning work simultaneously. We are able to complete it, and by using the accessories with respect to the various accessories of the plain table. Here the instrument we are going to be using the plain table. That's why we are going to be called as plain table surveying. So then the other one is going to be called as level survey. Level surveying. So here we are going to be instrument we are going to be using as the level. Either we are going to be using the dumpy level or the auto level or the electronic levels. So earlier we started with the dumpy level, then it is going to be called as auto level, and electronic levels are available nowadays. So then with the help of leveling instrument, we are going to carry out the survey. Then that's why we are going to be called as level surveying. So previous case already we discussed chain surveying, linear measurements, and angular measurements with the help of the compass surveying. But once you are going to be coming to the level, we are able to get that another dimension is going to be called as DRH. So depth or the height. So if you want to know that the depth or the height, so measurement, then so we have to be prefer that the surveying is going to be called as level surveying. If you want to go for the length and breadth, so the chain surveying and other surveys we are going for the length and breadth of one of the linear measurements are there. So then angular measurements, we will go for the compass surveying, or we will go for the theodolite surveying, or we will go for the tachymetric surveying. And only for exclusively for depth or the height, so we are going for level surveying. This is a vertical one. So horizontal one and vertical one, both will be needed, and both measurement. So that's why I already told you that 3 LBH will be needed. If you complete LBH only, we can able to prepare a plan. Otherwise, we cannot able to get it your plan. So that is we are going to call it level surveying. Then the fifth one is we are going to call as theodolite surveying. So here the instrument we are going to be using is going to be called as theodolite. Your instrument is going to be using a theodolite. By using the theodolite, I can able to measure the angular measurements. Angles I can able to measure. So then the surveying we are going to be called as theodolite surveying. So here once you are going to be reference to the angle, once again here the two classifications are there. One is horizontal angle, other one is going to be called as vertical angle. So the angle also we are having that the horizontal angle and vertical angle. Theodolite surveying will be helpful to know that your horizontal angle and vertical angle. Where we will use horizontal angle and where we will use vertical angle. So this is the question that, so horizontal angle almost all we are able to measure by in the case of the plane surfaces or the plain ground. Your terrain will be a plane or horizontal, your terrain will be horizontal or the plane. So then we will be able to measure the angle we are going to call as horizontal angle. And contrary to that one is going to be called as vertical angle. So vertical angle where we will require your, so the measure, your terrain will be changes, abruptly changes, or your terrain will be mountainous terrain, your terrain will be a mountainous terrain or the hilly terrain will be there. So then the hilly terrain and the mountainous terrain, whatever the angles we are going to measure it with reference to the vertical. In plane surfaces, your vertical angle will be 0. Only horizontal angle only we can able to get it with reference to that the plane terrain, and with reference to the vertical terrain. So we are able to get that so the vertical angle we can able to get it. That's why we are going to differentiating that. So where we will able to get the horizontal angle and where we will able to get the vertical angle. This will be more necessary in the case of if you are going for a construction of a roads. Roads we are going to be constructing in the plane surfaces will be different. Roads we are going to be constructing in the mountainous or the hilly terrain will be different. With respect to that, we are going to be measuring with respect to that the horizontal and vertical angle. There we needed that the vertical angle will be needed to go for the curvature or to go for the change of alignment or change of the alignment. Wherever we needed, then we are going to be provided with the vertical angle. So that is we are going to call it vertical curves. So wherever your alignment is going to be changes, then I can able to provide a curve that we are going to call it vertical curves with reference to the vertical angle. Similarly, with reference to the horizontal angle, wherever the alignment is going to be changes, I am introducing the curve that way I am going to call it horizontal curve. So horizontal curve will be referencing to that the horizontal alignment, or we can say that the plane terrain. Vertical angle or the vertical curve with reference to that the vertical alignment, or we can say that your terrain will be hilly or mountainous terrain. So that is the, here we can able to see that theodolite instrument is going to be useful in the case of I want to measure or I want to find out the horizontal and vertical angles. The instrument I am going to be using here is the theodolite instrument. That's why I am going to be called as a theodolite survey. So then another instrument I am going to be using is another instrument I am going to be using is going to be called as, next is going to be called as tachyometric survey. So tachyometric surveying, here the tachyometric surveying I am going to be using the instrument is tachyometer. I am going to be using the instrument is going to be called as tachyometer. So with the help of the tachyometer, I am going to be getting the information. Then the type of surveying I am going to call it as tachyometric surveying. So tachyometer, what the measurement we are able to get it. Here I am able to get it that the distances as well as the angular measurements. Both I can able to get it. But whatever the distances I am able to measure, that is going to be called the indirect method. Because the direct method is we are using in the chain surveying. Direct method is going to be called as with the help of chain and tape. Whatever I am going to do directly in the field. That's why we are going to call it as a direct method by using chain surveying with the help of chain and tape. But in tachyometric surveying, I am able to get the information. One is distances, and as well as the angles I am able to get it. Both will I am able to get it, but indirect method of measurements, distances. So D equals to Ks plus C. So by using the tachyometer, I can able to calculate it. And similarly, vertical and angle and horizontal angle also I can able to measure it while you are going to be using with the help of theodolite surveying. Similarly, here also I am going to be using with the help of tachyometer. I can able to measure the horizontal and vertical angle, but indirect way, not the direct way. If I want to measure direct way, then I have to use the theodolite. I want to use the direct method of distance measurement. I have to go for chain and tape.